Alright, my name is Ed Rittman. I'm currently enrolled in Dr. Cobain's Digital Museums History 545 course, and we're working on creating a website component to the current exhibit, Louisiana Women, A Century of Change, as part of the larger project in the History Department, the Museum on the Move. Today is April 14th, 2014, and I'm going to interview Dr. Troutman, who's the instructor of the course in which graduate students in the Public History Department created the exhibit. I'd like to open with, how did you learn about this project, Dr. Troutman? How did you become involved?
Well, let's see. The idea germinated at a public history conference in Milwaukee about, I guess, 2.5 years ago. We saw a presentation on a similar type of concept of a mobile museum where students get involved and design exhibits. And two of our colleagues were present with me at that time, Dr. Chad Parker and Dr. Bob Carricker. And so after the presentation, we started talking about it and kind of thinking about its application as an opportunity for grad students here at UL Lafayette. And we were all very enthusiastic about the idea and the promise that it kind of provided us in terms of envisioning a really great opportunity for students to work in kind of a hands-on environment through this mobile museum unit. So at that point, we basically began kind of trying to figure out how to put the plan into motion. Fortunately, we had funds that were available to us from the Gilboa Charitable Trust that provides the History Department with funds to develop public history programming. And so I began kind of thinking about what sort of mobile unit we'd like to look for, and what immediately came to mind for me was a mid-century Airstream trailer. I mean, there's no other trailer or vehicle that can really represent history, I don't think, as well as something like that. It just really, it generates such conversation, and they're so striking and very historical in the mid-century sense. And so I started scouring the internet and eventually located a 1954 26-foot long trailer outside of Birmingham, Alabama. We had someone go out there to inspect it and look it over, and it all looked pretty good. We negotiated on price, and then Chad Parker and I drove a truck up there to pick it up. And this was in February of 2013. So we brought it back here. I mean, it's a beautiful trailer, but it included all of the original fixtures. So it included the kitchen sink and the oven and the shower and bed and all sorts of cabinets. And we didn't really know exactly how we were going to translate this into an operational exhibit space. And that was one of the first big challenges that we had to reckon with. At the time that we were locating the trailer, the right trailer for us and bringing it back, Dr. Mary Farmer Kaiser had already initiated an undergraduate course on Louisiana women's history. And we decided that the best way that this project could work would be for different faculty in the history department to propose a thematic course for their undergraduates where they could kind of brainstorm on ideas for an exhibit that graduate students would then install in the next semester. So that course was underway while we were identifying and bringing the trailer back to Lafayette. So we brought the trailer back, and then the next big question was, what can we do with this trailer? How can we make it a usable space? And so Dr. Corey Saft from Architecture and Industrial Design Department organized a 3-week summer session with some of his students, about a dozen students, to brainstorm on how to transform an operational camper trailer essentially into a museum that students can work in every year. And so they came up with some really wonderful ideas, and we kind of basically took some of their ideas and brought them into our graduate seminar in the fall. And last fall, 10 students in our public history program and I began kind of hashing out a plan as to how to cultivate, how to develop an exhibit in one semester that would also enable us to kind of inaugurate the trailer such that we could hold an opening for our first exhibit in December, and that's exactly what happened.
Is the end result of the design of the trailer what you expected? And, to build
Yeah.
on that, it's an original public history project. What were some of the major obstacles throughout the process?
We didn't really know what to expect. I really had no idea what to anticipate in terms of the final design of the trailer itself. I knew that we needed to create a very modular type of design because our plan was for every new cohort of public history graduate students each year to deinstall the previous exhibit and conceptualize, develop, design, and install a new exhibit. So it needed to be a space that could be kind of reimagined with every new group of graduate students. And with that in mind, we realized that really kind of gutting out the trailer would be the most appropriate course of action, kind of removing all of the fixtures and kind of creating a more sleek and clean kind of space. So we hired a contractor, John Steinman from John Frederick Construction here in Lafayette, who really immediately understood what we were going for and did a remarkable job of transforming the trailer into an exhibit space. He encountered a lot of unexpected problems that we had not really anticipated. The trailer had been inspected and everything in Alabama, and it looked like it was in great shape. But of course, when you start peeling away the layers of the vehicle, then you might find some unexpected problems. And at one point, he discovered an abandoned rat's nest in the floor of the trailer. And that, was not an obstacle that could not be overcome, but it was, presented a new challenge and dimension to the project. And we also found some frame issues that we had to get reinforced, and so there were a few kind of issues that came up along the way. He also, John Steinman, found really a great stock of flooring that was heavily discounted that really worked perfectly in terms of creating this kind of bright, clean museum space. We wanted to really replicate what galleries look like in museums today, and I think he did a great job with that. Now we had to figure out all sorts of things as a class. He did the heavy lifting in terms of ripping out the old fixtures and kind of installing the new floor. But we had to figure out how to light the exhibit, how to hang lights, where we wanted to wire up outlets within the trailer. We had to build our own glass cases and display boxes. We had to figure out how to hang the exhibit panels. There were a lot of, I guess what we did realize through the course of the semester was that, and this is really great for all of us in terms of it being a learning experience, we all realized how complicated it is. When you have to think about every little detail of an exhibition, you really gain an appreciation for the work that museum people do, and so that was a really kind of wonderful revelation, I think, for all of us. It was also challenging and frustrating at times. The students really kind of went beyond the call of duty and embraced the project, thankfully, because it would have been a sheer failure without all of the talent that they brought to it. But there were all sorts of challenges along the way. We had to, for example, for this inaugural exhibit on some historical female figures in Louisiana, one of the immediate challenges was the realization that there are just so many people that we like to include in the exhibit, but yet the space is confined. It's a 26-foot long trailer, so that was probably one of the first issues that the class had to resolve, which involved a lot of arguing within the classroom as people presented, their own kind of positions on how we should kind of frame the exhibit and who we should include in the exhibit and so forth. And that was a really great experience for all of us because, again, it really reflected the sorts of challenges that any exhibit developer encounters in terms of making hard decisions. So problems and challenges we all learned are just a part of this experience. It's a part of museum work. And so that was one of the most important takeaways, I think, for all of us that was helpful for us. And it's the sort of experience that all of the students will be able to apply as they leave the program.
Great. If If you had to do it again, would you change anything? What would you change?
Well, we're going to do it again every year. So we have, fortunately, this perfect shell of an exhibit space that we can really change up as we see fit. I think what's great about the open design of the trailer is that the new cohort of students every year can completely reimagine it. If they want to create a maze that people travel through in terms of the different sorts of interior walls they might build up in the trailer, they can do that. If we need to reconfigure the lights have remained a challenge for us, then we'll do so. And now that we have the shell complete and in such great shape, we will be changing our exhibit design ideas every year. I'm absolutely certain. And that's, again, I think what will make it really fun for the students and also for the faculty as we get to kind of reimagine the space from year to year.
How do you think new technology could help the exhibition?
Well, the first exhibit really didn't profit from extensive technology in the sense of monitors and kind of interactive screens and so forth. And we talked about potential uses for employing those sorts of interactive technologies in the trailer. But it being the first semester, we just didn't have time. I mean, we just had to kind of move forward as quickly as we could because one of the real challenges for the first cohort of students was the fact that we didn't even have a trailer available until November because of all the work that went into renovating it. I think for the next cohort of students, they'll really be able to hit the ground running with the trailer in a way that the first cohort did not. And so we'll have much more time to kind of think about different sorts of technologies that we can employ in the exhibit. And I'm absolutely certain, for example, that with next year's exhibit, we're going to see different uses of technology in the trailer.
Great. What do you think an online version of the exhibition should or could add to the project as we're working on right now in our digital history course?
Well, I think it's a fundamental component of the entire project. I mean, I think we always envisioned a tight relationship between the physical exhibit and a digital presence. And one of the most important reasons as to why both components are so integral is the simple fact that these physical exhibits are fleeting. I mean, we will deinstall every exhibit within 1 year. And so for that reason alone, the digital exhibit in some ways is even more important in terms of the exhibit itself and the theme of the exhibit, because it will kind of create presence that will go on and on in the years that follow. So that's why the digital presence is so important to this entire vision that we're trying to achieve with the Museum on the Move.
What do you think was the most rewarding experience throughout this process?
Working with the students, I mean, was the most rewarding process. Just kind of all getting together and trying to brainstorm and hash out a plan was just a whole lot of fun. And it was, like I said earlier, it was really challenging. I mean, the students were really, really pushed in that semester. We all were, but it was a very time-consuming and challenging course. But I think that the rewards for all of us are just immense, and those rewards really stem from just cooperation and collaboration.
Great. Thank you very much for your time, Dr. Troutman. So this museum is a mobile museum being titled Museum on the Move. What was the this is a mobile museum. After the museum was created in the fall, how did you make this museum mobile? Where did you go?
Well, that's a good question, and the reason why we decided to pursue this model of a museum on the move was because, in addition to kind of creating a laboratory for exhibition design for our grad students, we also wanted to create a space that people from all over the community could access. We wanted to be able to showcase the work of our students, but we also wanted to integrate with this kind of workshop for the students our university's mission, which is to provide educational outreach to the community at large. And so we decided through the Museum on the Move program that we could transport the exhibit throughout the state during the spring semester before the exhibit's then kind of deinstalled and a new exhibit is put in its place. And so the spring has really been kind of amazing. We've taken the trailer to public schools and opened our doors at the schools, and this has been a really kind of special component of the project because our school teachers have to essentially raise funds for acquiring buses to take their students on field trips and so forth. But what we can do with the Museum on the Move is literally bring it to their door. And our students, our grad students, also develop educational materials that coincide with each year's exhibit, that also coincide with state standards, with the grade level expectations that the teachers are kind of basing their daily lesson plans from. So we were able to access those and develop very specific educational content that speaks directly to the content of the exhibit itself and also to the needs of the teachers. And so they can download those materials and then inform the students of what to expect, and then they go through, and they've had a really good time so far doing that. I think at one stop in Church Point at a school there, we had 180 students come through the trailer in a day. So I mean, it's really been a lot of fun in that regard. But we've also taken the trailer to local community events such as the Farmers Market here in Lafayette, where we've had hundreds of people coming in and also filling out surveys about their experiences in the trailer, which has also been kind of helpful for us as we're thinking about how to improve the presentation of the exhibits from year to year. In addition to that, we're taking it to Festival International in a couple of weeks, and we're going to open it up for a festival where tens of thousands of people come into Lafayette every year for a free music festival. We took it to a professional meeting a couple of weeks ago in Hammond, Louisiana, the Louisiana Historical Association meeting, and presented it as, again, a graduate student project that other faculty and students at other Louisiana institutions could kind of observe and kind of think about in terms of applying within their own university settings. And so we've had a number of similar sorts of opportunities to really present the exhibit as a gift to the community and as an opportunity for our students and faculty to interact in more and more ways with the public. And in terms of public history, that's really ultimately what it's all about. It's kind of taking all these concepts that historians work on in the classroom and the research, and taking the training that graduate students receive in graduate programs, and then making this material available and accessible and interesting and fun in many cases for the public. So we see it as kind of a win-win-win situation, from exhibit development to public presentation to the development of a digital component as well. It's all kind of seamlessly come together and in a way that I didn't anticipate would work quite so cleverly because we were kind of doing this on the fly, and it seems to have worked out really well. But we're excited with every new year to bring the trailer to different locations throughout the state of Louisiana and perhaps beyond.
That's great. Thank you very much for your time.
All right. Cool. All right.